me open this up to the audience for questions. Who'd like to ask a question first? Lady in front.
Good morning. My question is for Will. What consumption of urea should operators be planning for?
Sure. As we mentioned, again, the need for now a holding tank of urea consumption is certainly something that is not designed into current installations. So what we've been communicating to designers and operators is to plan for about 5 to 7% of what your fuel burn is, so what your fuel tanks are. So if you're burning 200 liters of fuel an hour, then certainly plan on burning about 10 liters of urea an hour. So use a kind of a 5 to 7% of your fuel burn as your rule of thumb for sizing your tanks on board.
Gentleman at the back in the stripy shirt, please. The stripy tie.
This is for Peter. If a maintenance engineer decided to increase focus on lubricants to increase some of the benefits that you describe, how would they go about taking the next steps to achieve that?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I think and quite a long answer, it could be quite a long answer, but I think the key thing, the first message is you're really not on your own. The people from Mobil, the people from Mobil's distributors are here to help you. I think one of the first steps would be to work with the Mobil engineer to identify any suffering points that you have with your current equipment and focus on them to get more reliable operation. To look at critical equipment and focus on the critical equipment and the lubricant use and recommendations for the critical equipment. As I described earlier, introduce a used oil analysis program, and with those types of tools you'll easily move forward in terms of reliability, and obviously measure how the progress in terms of your spare part consumption, in terms of your oil consumption, in terms of, if you can, in terms of your energy output, etc. So it's a collaborative way of working with Mobil, and focus on some of the key critical equipment first. Does that help you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
One more question. The lady in the green jacket, please.
This is a question for Peter. For operations in extreme temperatures requiring maintenance-related downtime or cooling, what sort of lubricant solutions would you recommend?
Well, I touched on it briefly in the presentation. One of the benefits of the Mobil SHC products is they have very low temperature performance. They have pour points which are very low, which allow them to be operated in low temperatures. So at startup, the Mobil SHC product is still fluid, so it can be pumped around the equipment and reach the critical parts easily. Whereas mineral products sometimes at low temperatures, or can at low temperatures, wax up quite easily and increase viscosity. So that's one of the key inherent benefits of Mobil SHC. It's the ability to still work at very low temperatures, but also at high temperatures as well, which you may get in the oil and gas industry in other parts of the world, for example, the Middle East.
Right, I've just got a couple more questions before we run out of time, for both of you actually. This isn't a new industry we're in anymore, and we've actually got some ageing equipment. Is that causing problems, and how are we to deal as an industry with that?
All right, I'll take that question first. Certainly we do have aging equipment out there, and we provide guidelines how to operate and maintain our engines. And we have methods out there to maximize the life and longevity of our engines. So if you're following the guidelines and maintenance procedures, we've been able to extend the life of engines in this industry for a great period of time. And certainly, you do get to a point where you look at replacing the unit, and those are certainly things that our service personnel around the world can work with the customer to kind of try to figure out how to maximize the operational costs and whether to, how much more life, I guess, you can get out of the product.
Peter, you were nodding there.
Yeah. Again, some of the things we've discussed with advanced technology lubricants are applicable to older equipment as well. Preventative maintenance is probably even more critical to try and get an idea of the condition of the equipment through oil analysis, etc. So still the same principles apply really to try and get ahead of any problems that could arise with older equipment.
Okay, I'm going to put one final question, put you on the spot now. Crystal ball time. What happens next?
I think for me, what happens next is that I think we've developed a lot of new technology within mobile lubricants, and I think what happens next in the next 2 to 3 years is really a lot of that technology has to be taken on board by the oil and gas industry and really applied, and some of the benefits like energy efficiency I think haven't really got through to the industry yet. So I think then what next is really the application of some of this technology.
Yeah, we've for the last 10 years have spent a very high percentage of our research and development money focusing on reducing the emissions levels of our product. So as we've been working on those technologies to reduce the emissions levels, we don't foresee a lot of future regulations, although we know that more will come. What we want to do is then to maximize the efficiency now of our product, to gain back some of the efficiencies that maybe would have been lost because of the reducing the emissions levels. So again, working on that, like Peter said, working on gaining some of that efficiency to provide a lower cost operating product.